Now you may be looking at the mess of UV islands over here in the UV editor and wonder what in the world have we done, but be patient. We're going to deal with all of this soon with the pack islands and average island scale. But we're going to do it for the gun as a whole, we're going to do it for the vehicle as a whole, and we're also going to do it for the tire and wheel combination. So ultimately we'll have 3 UV maps and therefore 3 sets of texture maps to take into Unity. But before we do any of that, let's work on this here. It looks like we could select this, all of these pieces, and let's press Shift H and let's take a look. All right, so I think we can, for something like this, let's go back to our solid mode. For something like this, let's select an edge down here on the bottom where it's fairly hidden. Let's select this and deselect one of these. Let's select this and deselect one of these. There we go. So let's take a look at that. U and unwrap. That looks pretty good. Let's turn off UV sync right here so that we can see it individually. So there we go. And as we've said, because we left that one edge unselected, this whole piece is connected together. All right, so let's look at this piece right here. This, I'm going to press Shift H one more time to isolate it further. This, I think we can split out right here and right here. Let's go ahead and mark a seam there. We can split the top out, but is that hidden away? Let me press the Tab key. Yeah, the top is hidden away, so we really don't need this at all. This will just cause us issues as we try and UV map. Let's go ahead and delete that face. And now that we've done that, we can just select an edge back here, right here, to go ahead and lay that out flat. So if we just select that with seam on here, we can press U and unwrap, and there it is. All right, we could do a similar thing for this piece right here. We could select this edge, mark a seam, and then we could select this edge and mark that seam. And now if we just select this right here with the L key and unwrap that, same kind of thing. So that's good. Now for this, we do need to keep this face down here. So let's go ahead and break this out. What I can do is once again, just deselect one edge to keep it connected there. And then let's select this edge and, well, let's go ahead and try this. Let's grab this and now let's select that one piece, press U and unwrap. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We've got a little bit of pulling here because we've got this right here, this angle right here. We could switch to conformal and see if it helps. And actually, it does quite a bit, so I think that'll be fine. Now, for this up here, we should probably go ahead and select these edges, and then maybe deselect these here. Let's try that, and mark seam. And let's see if that will split this out and lay that flat. Now, we're probably going to need an extra seam here. Let's do that. Now let's go ahead and press the L key, select that whole thing, and then let's press U and unwrap. So yeah, that just laid this strip out right here, and then it also opened these up once again like a butterfly at these edges right here, right there. So I think that'll work just fine. All right, so let's select the whole thing, and let's come up here to UV, average island scale. Oh, I need to select everything. Let's press the A key. There we go. UV, average island scale, and pack islands. And let's just take a look at it. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. All of that looks fairly evenly laid out. We could come over here to our look dev, take a look at it, see if we see any problems. But I think generally speaking, that's going to be pretty good. All right, so let's press Alt-H to bring everything back here. And what else should we do? Well, we've got this piece here. Let's take a look at this. I'll press Shift-H, and we'll hit the period key. This piece looks like it could be split out on its own right here. So let's select this edge and these all around here, like this. And let's select this edge and this edge. maybe deselect these two here and mark a seam. Now we can hit the L key, press U and unwrap and test that out. That looks pretty good. There isn't too much of a difference there. Now let's see if we can split this out. We don't have any caps on the ends here, so I think we can just select this whole edge here and split it out there. Let's try this. I'll hit L, U, and unwrap. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's select everything over here. We can average island scale and pack islands just to see how it's going to look. So those are proportionally the same size as they are over here. All right, let's press Alt-H. And how about these things right here? Let's select these two. I'll press Shift-H and the period key. And for this, how should we do this? Well, we could try our Smart UV Project and see what happens. I think it's probably not going to do what I want it to do, but let's give it a try. I'll hit U and let's choose Smart UV Project. And let's click OK. Well, it's not too bad, actually. We could drag in the angle limit here to change the configuration, but I think I like it all more connected like this. The only thing I'm not real fond of is to have these thin pieces kind of out on their own. I'd kind of like to have them still connected to the larger pieces. It may be quibbling, but I think I'm going to go ahead and do it on my own here. So let's go back and I'm going to select this edge all the way around here on the outside like this. Mark a seam. And I'll come back and I'll do this here as well. And as I said, this may not be absolutely needed, but I just feel like I want these things to be connected to the main UV islands of this. So I'm going to select a couple of edges around here like this and mark a seam here. Let's do a similar thing over here like this. Mark seams here and here like that. And then up here as well, I'm going to get this and this. And let's do this and this. And over here on this side, these and these. And let's just see how this works. Maybe I've done all this work and Smart UV Project would have been the way to go, but let me just try it. I can always undo it, right? Let's hit U and unwrap. Yeah, see, I like that a little bit better because it keeps everything connected. And in our final UV maps here, there's going to be a lot of islands and it could get confusing as to what is what. So let's go ahead and go with that. All right, Alt-H to go back. And I guess what we need to do now is, well, we need to do the bolts here and then the cylinder here and this piece right here. Let's do these real quick. Shift-H and period. And well, these look fairly simple, so we could maybe just add an edge or select these edges and add a seam here. And we need to extend these on back to here. And for this, once again, we could just select the edge on the bottom, these around here, and deselect one like this. There we go. And yeah, I think that should be good. Let's hit A, U, and unwrap. Well, this is a problem. What did we miss here? Let's take a look at this. Let me isolate this, just this piece, and let me deselect seam here. So we just select that part, and let's press Shift-H. There's an internal piece to this. I see. Well, we don't really need that, do we? Because we've got that cylinder going through there. So let's just delete that. Let's just grab these, select these here, press X, and delete faces. So now, do we really need that? Let's press Alt-H, and let me grab these again here, like this. Yeah, I don't think we need those at all. Deselect the seam, and I'll press Shift-H. Now let's take a look at these. Yeah, I think we could just go ahead and select all of this. And let's try this again. Let's press U and unwrap. There we go. That's a lot better. So now let's also grab this one too. Let's see how that all works. There we go. That makes more sense. All right, one more. Let's go back to here and let's grab these bolts here. This and this. I think these are the last pieces that we need to do on this. At least I think so. Let's press Shift-H and let's just go ahead and work on these. So we've done this kind of thing before. So I think it's just a matter of selecting maybe every other edge. Let's just do that. Here, here, and here. And just allowing that to split out to lay this flat. Oh, let me zoom in with the period key. Here and here. All right. Let's select them, U and unwrap. Looks good. All right, Shift-H. Let's now bring everything back here like this, and let's take a look at it in the Look Dev right here. So I'm going to hover over this screen and press Control Spacebar, and that'll just make this full screen temporarily. And let's just make sure that we've got everything with a checker pattern on it here. I think we do. So what let's do now is try and create a unified UV map of this. Let's press Control Spacebar to go back. And what I'm going to do is just select everything. And then I'm going to come over here to the UV editor and I'll select everything as well over here. Now what let's do is go to UVs and let's average island scale here. So now these should all be proportionally the same size as the various objects here in the 3D view. Now let's come over here to UV and let's go to Pack Islands. And let's see how we did here. I'm going to press Control Spacebar and let's press Alt-A to deselect that. So there is our UV map. There's a lot going on there. And the good thing about it is ultimately we're going to be assigning vertex colors, a color ID map, to our objects here, to the machine gun, to the vehicle, to the tires. And Substance Painter is going to be able to pick out what UVs go with what part, and therefore what material should go on it, based on that color ID map, those vertex colors. So Control Spacebar. So even though it looks like a mess to us, we're going to set up the model with vertex colors so that Substance Painter will be able to see what is what.